Okay, we're going to go over the dip switch settings for an Ultra 5-wire smart switch. So I'll go ahead and turn this over and go over the basics here. On the back, the yellow 2-pin connector is the 24 volts DC input. The device is not polarity sensitive, so it doesn't matter where positive and negative go. So land your positive and negative on the yellow for power. The red, black, green connection is the RS45 smart switch connection. So red is positive, black is negative, and green is your ground shield or drain wire. And then across the top, the dip switches on the left, these are the options dip switches. The second set of dip switches is the smart switch address dip switches. And the third set of dip switches is not really used. They just need to be in the all off position. Okay, so we'll look at the address dip switches first. On the address dip switches, dip switch number 8 is always on. And across the top, each dip switch carries a value. So if we look down here, starting at dip switch number 1 has a value of 1, dip switch number 2 has a value of 2, and then we go across 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So each dip switch when on carries the value that corresponds with it. So for instance, if we want to set address number 5, we'll turn on dip switch number 1 and dip switch number 3 to give us address number 5. The address is the value of the dip switches added up and totaled. So dip switch number 9, if we wanted address 9, would be dip switches 1 and 4. So we would turn off number 3, and on number 4 would give us address number 9, etc. Okay, and we'll go ahead and move to our options dip switches. Oops. And here for our options dip switches, if we start across the top, dip switches number 1 and 2 are used for the LED intensity. It can be low, medium, or high, and you can see from the table, low is dip switch number 1 on, medium is dip switch number 2, and high intensity is both dip switches 1 and 2 on. They will come preset from the factory on for dip switch number 1 and 2 for high bright. The next set of dip switches for options would be the number of buttons, and again this would come preset from the factory. So dip switches 3, 4, and 5 are used to set the number of buttons on the station. This is a 2-button station, so for a 2-button station it would be dip switch number 4 would be on, and we can see here that dip switch number 4 is on. The next set of dip switches used for options is 6, 7, and 8, and these are used to set the default LED color. So you can see on the table here that there's 7 options for LED color: red, green, blue, yellow, purple, cyan, and white. So if you wanted green LEDs, which is the factory default, you would set dip switch number 7 to on and 6 and 8 both off, which is the current setting. So if you wanted to switch from default to purple LEDs, you would want dip switch 6 and 8 on with 7 off. So you would turn on number 6 and number 8 and turn off number 7, and that would give you purple LEDs, and so on.